Everyone, from me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za. Welcome to this Thursday night edition of the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. We're going to be talking Rugby Championship and Currie Cup, of course. I've got two guests joining me. I'll introduce them in a second because I see the second one has just popped in and he's joining us from a bit of a work function there, and it's the Oracle. Oracle, I'll let you settle in there. I'm going to introduce Hendrik first. Oracle's in his old Argentina jersey. But let's start with Hendrik, the Undertaker. Hendrik, welcome back to the show, mate. Been a couple of weeks since we've chatted. Some very exciting rugby to look forward to this weekend.
Yeah, Brent, with the Rugby Championship, the NPC and the Currie Cup, there's no shortage of rugby. So, one of those weekends where you can take your pick on which games you want to target. And, it's only your own fault if you're not going to make some money this weekend because there's enough matches to bet on.
And tell me something, the NPC, have you been quite involved in that? I haven't really looked at it myself. I know we got a couple of guys on the forum who've been playing it. Have you been getting involved in the NPC?
Brent, normally I get quite involved early on, but unfortunately last weekend I wasn't able to get involved. I read the comments on the forum and there were some good posts, but unfortunately I was a bit busy last weekend, so I couldn't get into it. The older I get, the less time I get to spend on rugby and on betting. So when I was younger, I had more time on hands, and obviously my betting went better. So it's strange, and you can probably relate with kids and work and stuff. You just get less time to focus on it. So it's actually bad. And now you've got the what's the word? Ondervinding, what's it in English? You've got experience of betting. So you've got the experience, but you don't have the time to watch games and to build to have knowledge of the teams currently. So it's actually, if only I had the experience that I have now when I had the time when I was younger, I would have cleaned up with the bookmakers. But unfortunately, I'm hoping to get a bit more involved in the NPC this weekend. Because I'm on the show this evening, I did a bit of studying. I went through the teams properly during the day, during my lunchtime. We can go through the NPC later, and I've got a few fancies there.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm going to bring Oracle in now. I'm sure he'll have a view on that as well. But it's like, I remember when I played tennis as a youngster, we could never afford tennis balls. Tennis balls, you could never afford to buy new tennis balls to play tennis with. And then when I could afford tennis balls, I stopped playing tennis. And exactly what you're saying, it's that expensive. What I can tell you is, I'm not going to say it's not you getting older, Hendrik. It's as your kids get older up to a point. And I'm sure Oracle is going to agree with this, because your kids, when they're at school, are taking up a hell of a lot of your time. And I mean, it's not grudge time. I mean, you're happy to do it. But the reality is you have less time to bet in that. I can tell you, I'm hitting the other stage now where I find my betting starting to improve, because my one son's away at varsity, my daughter's, working. They both got cars. So I don't, you don't look around. So all I can tell you is the wheel changes. And I think it's a good note to bring the Oracle in on. Oracle, what do you think of Hendrik's comment there? I'm sure you'd agree with it in the sense that time is money at the end of the day in betting.
Yeah, how's it, Hendrik? How's it, Brent? I'm just going to open up with this. I just have to show the shirt. And Hendrik will remember a night back in 2017 or 2018 when I donned this shirt for the first time.
I remember that.
Argentina were 22-10. They were plus 6.5 or whatever it was, plus 7.5. And Hendrik was like, South Africa's going to win this game. And I said to him, Bruce, slow down, take it easy. And I had a nice Argentinian breakfast the next morning, as I had my Sharks breakfast this weekend. You're 100% right. So what happens is, I'm going to say, Hendrik, I've been there. I've done that, as people say. And I've realized, I'm going to use my hand here, I've realized that I've gone up and I'm down on the expense curve. So every month going forward actually I have more money, because my kids need me less. And I've gone through, my most expensive year was 2021. I'll tell you, when my kid was in matric, that was it. I've not got anywhere close to the expense I went through in 2021 and the time. You're 100% right. I mean, I used to spend Saturdays sitting at the side of the rugby field watching the kid play, trying to watch on my phone, trying to get involved in race 2 in Turfentine, trying to get involved in this game, trying to watch that, watching your kid, watching the first team play at the school that you're at. And yeah, today I've got a time, and also I've had a couple of losses of life. My brother passed away a couple of years ago. My very good friend who gave me this job down here in Cape Town passed away last year. A good friend of yours and mine, Brent, had a heart attack, a few days ago. Time's very important. You've got to start looking at. You don't want to kill yourself because of a bad debt or someone you haven't spoken to, whatever it is, or you have a bad experience at a restaurant or a shop. Just get over it. Time is so much more important. And I've got to tell you, Henrik, I'm sure you're going to smile at this comment, and I'm pretty sure it will be very apparent in your time when you get there. But when I get to retirement, these bookmakers better start pooping themselves, because when I've got time, I'm going to murder them. And I'm going to murder them in other people's names as well as my own, people I don't know. I'm going to have accounts all over the place. They better beware. I'm coming. So, yeah, I can't wait for time. Time is the most valuable thing.
Brent, you're frozen.
Guys,
no, he's moving.
First of all, let me just apologize again in advance. I don't know. I was saying to Henrik before the show, I've tried 3 different networks and I'm battling still. So I think
nice,
it disappeared there. But let's get into the show then. Ireland, Emil, good to see you again. Am I back, boys? Am I back?
You're back.
We can hear, Brent. We can hear we can hear a bit of the sentence, and then a bit of the sentence breaks away.
He's gone. No, he's coming back. He's slow.
Yeah, no.
There, guys, I'm back.
Yeah. No.
Maybe
sorry, guys. Really struggling with my Wi-Fi. I've actually got a feeling that I'm going to try change networks. I'm going to bring the.
Let's start the first game.
The first game.
Yeah.
I'll go first if you want, Henrik. I don't mind.
You can go.
Okay, so last week I said 18 was too much. Now, I'm not going to say I was right or I was wrong. It just felt too much. And Henrik, we've seen handicaps at 27, 28 with this Argentinian team. We know they've won the game there before. Just felt wrong to me last week. And I did point out, as I've said before, and I think you've said the same thing, kicking us out of Super Rugby, kicking Argentina out of Super Rugby was definitely a problem. And I know that they mentioned it in the breakdown show earlier this week, I think on Sunday morning. But the reality is that's exactly what it is. They've tasted the blood. I said it again last week. Argentina have tasted the blood here. They can win. And once you've got that, somebody said it to me in 2010 when the Lions lost all of their games. And you might remember that year. They lost all their Currie Cup games. They lost all of their Super Rugby games. And everybody said to me, winning's a habit. You've got to start winning. And, of course, obviously the Lions won that 2011 Currie Cup. But the point here that I'm making is once you start winning, it becomes a habit. And this is a game that, for me, New Zealand have to win this game. And they don't worry about the 14.5. For them, winning the game is enough to get some sort of confidence back. And I think they're in a bit of trouble here. I'm not going to say that Argentina will definitely win this game, but I'm going to tell you that this is a game that should, well, I'm expecting it to be between 5 and 5. So -5 and 5. Argentina win by 5, New Zealand win by 5, 0. You can even punt the draw here. I think this is going to be an extremely close game because the last time we saw this, Argentina got pumped, properly pumped. New Zealand came back after a loss and absolutely smashed them. I don't think it happens this week. I think this New Zealand team is under the cosh. I think they don't have the experience that we have and the Argentinians have. I think this game's going to be close. I think Argentina have tasted enough blood. They know they can win. And I know it's a 30-something year hoodoo or whatever it is since 1994 that no one's won at this Eden Park. But this team doesn't care. They can win. And I'm going to tell you again, punt them at the 6 or 7-1 to win the game, put a couple of units on, and take this handicap at +14. It's too much. I know it was higher and it's come down. It's still too much. I'm on the Argentina plus with a couple of units on Argentina to win the game.
Yeah, Gavin, I was also on Argentina overs last weekend. I think over 17.5, over 18.5, can't remember. But yeah, at halftime already I knew my bet was going to win, and they beat that points line easily. And then at halftime, the handicap was before the game kicked off. There was lots of money for the All Blacks, and it ended like plus 19.5, plus 20.5 thereabout. It started off, and then halftime it was plus 15.5 on Argentina, and I couldn't believe that because Argentina, they were so into that game. You could see they're going to run them very close. Or in the end, they beat them. I thought New Zealand would do enough to win the game, but I suspected they might be run close by Argentina last weekend. So 15.5 at halftime last weekend. I couldn't believe that. So I got onto that. So that was my only 2 bets last weekend. I'm with you that Argentina is the right bet again here. Obviously, Eden Park is a big factor for New Zealand, and it's always been. And lots of times when the All Blacks have a poor test, they come back much better in the test after that. But this New Zealand team, I expected Razor Robertson to have a much bigger impact early on.
We all saw that. We all saw that game with the Lions in the Super Rugby final. I mean, the Ike was fantastic then. He's had a great career. So you're right. Everyone's looking at that and thinking, this is the guy. He's got to fix their problem.
Yeah, so when Rassie came on as Bok coach, he immediately had an impact. The Boks were very quickly, they were much better. And I expected Scott Robertson to have the same kind of impact. But somehow, in my opinion, they're actually worse off now than they were under Foster. And I don't rate Ian Foster. I didn't rate him before he became All Black coach, when he was still coaching the NPC sides and stuff. Honestly, in my opinion, I think the All Blacks were better under Ian Foster than they are currently. And I can't understand why they keep playing Damian McKenzie at 10. I've been saying for probably 6 years, Damian McKenzie is not a fly-off. He is a terrible fly-off. He's a great fullback. He's a terrible fly-off. He can't get the line going. So I can't understand why he keep going with him. Look, he's got Beauden Barrett at 50 now, so I expect Beauden Barrett to come in and do a bit of the playmaking as well. But I would just start Beauden Barrett at 10 and swap them around. That would immediately be better. Or just play Will Jordan at 15 and put Damian McKenzie on the bench. But the changes they've made doesn't make sense to me either. They've brought in Rico Ioane at 30 now. Anton Leonard-Brown was their best player last weekend. He had a great test in a losing game. But now he's been dropped to the bench, and Rico he's been playing all right at 13, but in my opinion he's still a better wing. But they've got so many good wings that they're playing at 13. Anyway, the other thing about this New Zealand team, in my opinion, their defense is very bad. All New Zealand teams of old, say 6 years ago or so, they were good on attack, but their defense was brilliant. So they were always good under minus because they had such a good defense. But this team, they don't care about defense, and their discipline is shocking. They concede stupid penalties. So you can't trust this team on a minus, in my opinion. You have to go to plus. Even with the Eden Park factor, you have to go minus. And in my opinion, I haven't checked the weather for Auckland, but if the weather is good, over some total points here, because Argentina will score points, but they will concede as well. And with New Zealand, you've always got a few tries. They should have a few tries in them. And with the terrible discipline of the All Blacks, the games are always going to be high scoring the way they play at the moment. So I think overs on total points is a great bet here, and I will be looking at overs on Argentina points again. I've seen 17.5 again, and that's too late. It must be at least 25.5 in my opinion, which sounds high for New Zealand playing at home, the team playing against them, but that's too low. So I think the best bet here on this game is overs on total points, but I like the plus as well.
You mentioned the bad discipline. That the one play in the game which you would have seen obviously was a double pass back that nobody caught and eventually became a 5-meter scrum. And, you look at that and you go, it doesn't matter what the score is in the game. You give away 7 points like that, because that's effectively what happened. It was under the poles. It was very unlikely they weren't going to score. They were shell-shocked. They almost looked like, in the faces that, how did we lose that? We should have won. But my favorite was when they interviewed the Razor coach at the end. He didn't know what to say. It's almost as if he'd planned a victory speech and hadn't considered what he was going to say had they lost the game. And, we talk about the Eden Park hoodoo or whatever they've, put out in the media this week. We're the same thing with Brisbane. I mean, my mate said to me, "You like South Africa?" Yeah. I said to him, "It's not that I like South Africa. It's that I don't like Australia." And, I'm telling people go under 10 points. And, the handicap's 10, so South Africa going to score more than 20. I was so focused on that under points that I didn't even consider the handicap, and I could have quite easily got a 3 or 4 to 1, bigger handicap going 15 points away or 12 points away from the handicap. And for me, it was about the points, and I'm not worried about the hoodoo. I mean, we've seen it so many times. Teams can lose 20 times at a venue, 15 times at a venue. They can be winning 20 times at a venue. Doesn't mean they're going to win the next one. This New Zealand team, can they? I'm gonna say what I've said many times before in this game. I'm gonna tip you the plus here. Okay, I like the plus, but I'm gonna say if you're even more bolder, and there's one or two things that are gonna happen. I'm gonna say there's a 20% chance of New Zealand running away with this game. So in other words, if you like New Zealand, don't take minus 14, take minus 24. They win by a lot. Or I think there's a 70% or 75% chance of Argentina coming very close in this game. So if you're even more bullish, take them on the board or take them at +2 or +3, +4, because you don't know if New Zealand are going to scrape a win by a drop goal or a penalty kick. It should be close for most of the game. I certainly don't think Argentina run away with us. Absolutely not. If they win by a couple. Interestingly, last week they won by 30, or they scored 38 points, which is a record against when New Zealand had been the home team. South Africa, I think, had the record of 37 or 36. Argentina beat it this weekend, scored 38 points in New Zealand, most scored against New Zealand in New Zealand. I mean, that just shows you how bad they are, because to get to 37, excuse me, we only did that recently. This is not something that's been going around for a while. It's this is possibly the worst New Zealand team in a long time. Not to say that they're absolute rubbish, but they're in trouble here. And if they lose this game, they're in massive, massive trouble.
It seems to me like Razor has decided he's going to play like Super Rugby type of rugby, a test match rugby in that level, and that doesn't work. He was a great Super Rugby coach, but they just wait to lose for test match rugby. I know New Zealand, they always play exciting rugby. They score great tries from their own 22 and stuff like that. But they're going to have to be really tighten it up, and their discipline, in my opinion, needs to really be better. They've got terrible discipline, and they've got to really tighten up on defense and play more territory game. Kick better and put pressure on the team in their own half. But I was surprised at how loosely they played last weekend. I couldn't believe it.
The other two things, Heinrich, for me was the excuse me, sorry, no scrums for 60 minutes. But on top of that, Australia nearly not scoring. It was nearly 33-0. Oh, that was crazy. I mean, we nearly saw two records that have probably stood for years and nearly got beaten. But I see Brent is definitely controlling the background, so you can go off with the Australia game. There you go. Yes. Now, I'll kick off as well because I'm already talking. But Australia, this handicap was a bit higher. Now, I know that South Africa have fielded a little bit of a weaker team. But if I'm looking 48, you take 12 away, that leaves you with 36. So that's 18, 30, 18. I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry. Australia not scoring 18 points. I just can't see it. I'm not going to tell you it's the best bet, but Australia not scoring 18 points in this game. South Africa 30, sure, you can go over. What did that guy, Egg Chasers, the YouTuber, he called it Perthfontein, which is probably about accurate. I've never heard that before, but I quite liked it. I think this is it's a somewhat, well, not somewhat, slightly weaker South African team, but we've got Lukhanyo Arm coming on. He hasn't played for a while. Makazole and Pimpy coming on. I just, I watched that game last week, and the best of the Australians currently available barely got into our 22. They kicked aimless kicks. They had no direction. They didn't know what they were doing. I'm going to say South Africa win this game comfortably. I'll be very surprised if Australia get 10 points. Yeah, they might score a try, and a penalty obviously always comes around every now and then. But I'm going to tell you, they're going to score 18. You can go under 10.5 with reasonable confidence. You can even take, and this week, and I still said to Brent last week, you could have gone for a South Africa. I felt sorry for the guys that had taken South Africa to win 2-0, because that would have been a very big price, because it doesn't happen. But in this game on Saturday, can definitely happen. And you must also remember, I'm not an MMA fan, or I'm not against MMA, but this Strickus character is fighting in Perth on Sunday. He's fighting against a Nigerian New Zealander, and I believe that Sia Khaleesi and Etzebeth are leading him into the ring. This is going to be, whatever the population of South Africans in Perth, I know a couple of them, I think it's going to double over the weekend. So it's double South African event going on. South Africa win this game comfortably. Australia don't score any points, or they score under 10. You can have a full go. Yeah, you don't have to worry about Russie's attempts at, blooding a few younger guys. I think that Sasha, number 10, was fantastic last week. In fact, he was reasonably good. I wouldn't call him fantastic, but he's got the blood out. I think he's fantastic this weekend. I'm going to tell you, Australia are nowhere in this match. They'll be lucky to score 10 points.
Yeah, I'm not with you, Kevin. I don't agree with most of what you said. So I don't like going against Rassie. So I last time 2 weeks ago when I was on the show, I said again to Brent, I don't like. I've got a rule for myself while Rassie is coaching the Boks, don't go against them. But this team, there's too many changes, key changes in my opinion. It's exciting on paper. It looks great. Everybody wants to see these youngsters play, and Sasha, brilliant. I like him, and I rate him higher than Andre Pollard already. He's a good playmaker. He kicks well at goal. He kicks well general play. He's a great 10. I like him. I don't mind him there. But a lot of the other changes I don't like. I don't like the tight 5. I'm not a Samuel Murat fan. He has to convince me. I'm not a fan at all of his. I'm at inside center. I'm a big fan of but at 30, not at inside center. The Boks they have to have a big inside center like Damien Dalende, Andre Esterhuizen. We've always had a big crash ball type of inside center, and I'm not sure about at inside center. Apolele Fassi, he should not be anywhere near a 15 jersey for the Boks. Maybe on the wing he can do a job, but he's not a good 15. He's not a playmaking 15, and the Boks play well when we have a playmaking 15 like Willie Leroux or Damian Willemse, two great playmakers. So I think the plus is the way to go here, Gavin, and I think Australia, they've got a chance to win this game. We've got a terrible record in Australia. Last week we completely threw that out of the window. Brilliant performance by the Boks, but I have a feeling the Aussies will come back at us. And there's a lot of rain predicted for Perth, and with Nick White playing, I like that for the Aussies. He kicks very well, so they will obviously use him a lot with the kicking. The exciting team that we've picked would do better with the dry game. It's an afternoon game, but it's going to be wet. I saw a comment earlier, I can't remember who said it, but Portugal scored 21 points against a similar team than this. And if Portugal can score 21 points in South Africa against this type of team that the Boks have picked, Australia can certainly score 30 points in Australia in a dry game. But this is a wet game, so that concerns me with going over some points, but I think Australia will score enough points. Even in the wet game, I think Australia will score 20 plus against this type of Bok team. I like the plus here, and if only it was dry, I would have been very confident on overs on Australia points. But I think the plus is the way to go here, and I think they will run us very close here.
Yeah, we have to. Excuse me. We have to be It wouldn't be a good show if we all agreed on every game, Henrik. You know that. I'm gonna even go further and tell you that the Griffins can beat Australia. I think this Australia team is absolute rubbish. All right, +10. Oi.
But this game, is this a home game for the Pumas, or is it at the Loftus? If it's in Nelspruit, is it? I think it's in
10 doesn't sound too much. Sounds bad. Sorry. I don't know if Brent's putting it in. I'm having a look. Is this a home game, Brent? For Pumas?
I just want to make sure because I think
we've had a fiddle around with them. It does say home.
Yeah.
Not enough. Bulls will beat this. I'm gonna say I'm a minus punt here. Not much. It just feels too low. I think the Bulls have shown us they're decent enough. They can win this game by more than 10.
Yeah, I like the Pumas in Nelspruit. I think the plus is the way to go. I would have made this closer to one score game, like a +6.5, +7.5. So not confident, but I think the plus is the way to go. Yeah, and Nelspruit, it seems to be very high scoring. I think I'm not sure what the points line is there, but over some points, anything under 60 points, I think you can go over some total points. The Pumas will contribute, I think. What's the next game, Brent? 59 now. Yeah, it's well set, probably. Yeah, 59.5. Probably overs, but I think overs the way to go. It can easily be 70 points in Nelspruit. Then Lions versus Western Province. Yeah, I would have liked a lower minus on the Lions. Yeah, I think the Lions is the way to go here, but it's just a bit too high in my opinion. I would have liked like a -8.5, -9.5 Lions, because Western Province. On paper, the team doesn't look that good, but they kind of stay in the game somehow. So I'm unsure about this one. Not going to have a lot of confidence. I'll probably still lean towards the Lions on a minus, but no real confidence on this one.
Not enough. This is 10 to 15. Not enough. This should be closer to -20. I think that the Lions have shown that they can compete in this tournament. Out of the obviously depleted teams and weaker teams, or whatever you want to call it, Lions have definitely got a good side here. They smashed that Pumas team last week. I say this result will be closer to 30. You can take a minus, around about 20, 22, even 25 if you're a bit more brave. But I'm expecting a 30-point win here.
Okay. And probably also points. Western Province games have had a few points. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Cheetah Sharks. You want to go first on the Cheetah Sharks?
I'm on the fence after Cheetahs coming back last week and the Sharks absolutely murdering that Griquas team. And the problem is when you beat a weak team like the Griquas, you don't know how good your team is. So I'm gonna say that this looks like the handicap should probably be about right. If I had to have priced up this game myself, I probably would have gone about 7 or 8, a little bit over the -5.5. But I still think a 10 to 15-point win by the Cheetahs. I'm a bit worried as to, I was very confident in the Sharks last week, but it wasn't about the Sharks. It was about the Griquas. And I even said to Brent, you can give me any year, in the last 25 years, and I can pick a year, and -6.5 Sharks beats the Griquas every time. And as we saw, it was a very comfortable result. So I'm not sure that was good Sharks. Of the opinion it was bad Griquas. So I'm gonna stick with the Cheetahs and say -5.5 is definitely enough. You could probably go for a little bit -8 or 10 or even 12 if you're a bit braver. But the Cheetahs should win this game, and they should win it comfortably.
I've been quite impressed by both these teams, to be honest, especially the Sharks lately, but the Cheetahs as well. The Cheetahs had that one terrible game against the Griffins, where they almost lost
33-0 and then nearly lost.
So that dented my confidence in the Cheetahs. But after that, they've been playing well again. Last week, very wet Cape Town. They played really well there. So that tells me they do have the forwards and they have the type of play, the tight kind of game to do it. So at home, you probably have to fancy the minus. I just feel the Sharks are on the up. So yeah, no real confidence, but I'm going to lean towards the Sharks minus here. And that's the end of the Currie. Oh, there's one more Currie Cup.
No, I hadn't seen the Griffins yet. They were still coming. I'm going to tell you they can win this game, Henrik.
Yeah, I've been quite.
I wouldn't even bother with a plus here. I'd have a small, unit and a half, whatever it is, whatever your money is. I'd have a small go the Griffins win this game, and that's only because the Griffins were so bad last week. I think you're going to get what 10-1, 12-1 Griffins.
No,
I say
that,
put a little bit on that and watch the game.
Yeah. So the Griffins, they've been great on the handicap.
And at home.
Apart from the first game against the Cheetahs, where they lost like by 60 points or something, they've been great on the handicap. They've covered most pluses. I think all the pluses after that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, they've been the best team to back on the handicap so far in the Currie Cup. And I agree with you. I think they can run this Griquas team close. Griquas, they've been terrible. When Griquas, a few years ago, when Peter Berg started coaching them, I was quite impressed with him, and I liked him he's a young coach still. But they've like stagnated, and after they've gone backwards, in my opinion. They need some kind of shake up there, because they used to be like a great team in Kimberley, like a bogey team, but now you go to Kimberley for easy points. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that 16.5 is too big. That should be a one, like a singles digit handicap, like 7, 8, 9.5 thereabouts. Plus is the way to go there. And there will probably be a bit of points. I think you can take over on the Griffins points as well, somewhere low 20s, high 10s thereabouts. And then I see Brent bringing the NPC. Let me just quickly open up the NPC betting on my phone, so I can just have a look at all the.
Are they still operating the same system, Henrik, where it's 3 premiership games, 3 championship games, and then there's a crossover game every week? Do they still do that?
No, they've got one. They haven't got like the championship and premiership thing anymore. It's like wow.
I quite like that. I think if South Africa put in a system like that, it would be great. That the smaller teams get to play the bigger teams.
Yeah, so they've got the one. So I just want to quickly get to a bookmaker that has them all open. Just a moment, because the one bookmaker where I checked doesn't have them all the games. It only has 4 games up. Okay, here we go. Okay, so first up tomorrow is Togo and Auckland. Togo playing at home, and the handicap there is 10.5, 9.5, 10.5 thereabouts. Togo, Auckland were terrible last weekend. They played against Wellington at home in Auckland, and I fancied Auckland in that game, but they were really poor. Otago, they went to Southland, their southern neighbours, and they lost there. But I quite like the Otago team that's been picked. I think Otago on the plus is the way to go. Quite like that. Not very strong, but like a medium strength bet. Then after that, Northland versus Manawatu. Manawatu, they are really poor. They were poor last weekend. Last year, they've been poor. They were poor last weekend. They were smashed by Tasman 54-21. And now Northland playing at home, minus 13.5. This is too low. This handicap should be at least in the 20s. So yeah, I quite like Northland. Yeah, I think that they will beat them easily. And Manawatu's games are quite high scoring as well. So I think there will be a lot of points in this one. But Northland minus, great bet here in my opinion. Next one, Tasman Canterbury, 2 teams that's close to each other geographically, to Nelson and Canterbury. Tasman slight favourites, 3.5 thereabouts. I think Canterbury on the plus. I like taking Canterbury on in PC. Also in Super Rugby, the Crusaders, I like taking them on. I have a belief that the bookmakers overpriced the Crusaders and the Canterbury because of previous years. But I think Canterbury plus is the way to go, yeah. Not a strong fancy, but I think that's the way to go. Then Hawke's Bay versus Southland. I like Southland a bit, yeah. They were quite impressive last week against Otago. So, yeah, I think, what's the handicap on that? 16 and a half, yeah. It's a away game for Southland, and they're obviously much better at home normally. But even against a very good Hawke's Bay team, I think Southland can stay in this one, plus 16 and a half. Then there's 3 games left. Bay of Plenty versus North Harbour. I think Bay of Plenty minus. Let me just quickly see. It's not a big handicap. It's a close one. 3.5 points, 2.5 thereabouts. Yeah, I think this is quite a strong one actually. Bay of Plenty, they've been really impressive. North Harbour, I think let me just quickly see what they did last weekend. I can't remember North Harbour. Yeah, they lost against Hawke's Bay, and I remember North Harbour having quite a decent squad on paper, but they lost at home against Hawke's Bay in a high-scoring game. So yeah, I like Bay of Plenty there. That handicap 2.5, definitely too low. Wellington Taranaki will be a very good game. Wellington, they had very little ball against Auckland last weekend, but in the end, they really, with the little ball they dominated the game and they won easily. But Taranaki, they were impressive as well. Quite well handicapped in my opinion. It's a converted try 7.5, but I would lean towards the away team Taranaki. And then we've got one left. Counties Manukau, who played yesterday against Waikato. Waikato, they lost against Bay of Plenty, but Bay of Plenty, they're quite impressive. Counties at home, I think the plus definitely the way to go. And the Counties, they're quite a good second half team. In a lot of games, they go down early on and then they come back and they score a lot of points in the second half. So I think Counties plus 13.5, definitely the plus to go at home. And overs as well. Their games, most of the games, very high scoring. So yeah, that's what I like on the NPC. And then we're probably gonna go into best bets.
We will. URC, when does that start? Are you talking about Trickers? Is that what you're talking about?
Probably. I don't watch that stuff. MMA, UFC.
I don't watch it either, but I got to say,
I'm a boxing fan.
Fighting in Perthfontein against a Nigerian New Zealander. He's not even the favorite, Henrik. This oak's got a price. He's like 106 or 108. Yeah, listen, he beat the guy that beat this guy. So the triangle of, it's like you beating me, I'm beating Brent, Brent's beating you. It's a triangle here. So Drickers is on the right side of the triangle. Yeah, I don't know. I think the fact that it's in Perth and the South Africans are leading him in, yeah, he probably wins. I don't know. Now that took some time. He's been away for a while. So that's just the stats. I've only just looked at, I don't watch it. I'm like you. I don't watch it. I've been invited to these things, not too interested. But I've got to believe that at over evens, he's got to be valued because he's beaten the guy that's beaten this oak, and this other guy's been away for a while. He's been out of the cage, or what do they call it? So yeah, if you've got a little bit of money, I'm going to suggest taking Drickers to win here, but I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I'm a boxing fan, but I don't like that
Yes.
BS. My daughter got home from school today, and she told.
Not sure if you can hear me, but we've lost Henrik. He's gone. Stuck. Trickers, of course, too much power. Brent, can you hear me? There you are. coming
I
in.
can. Can you hear me? I'm back again.
Yeah, I can hear you. So Henrik's got stuck.
Yeah, gee, sorry, I could barely. I could follow the show, but yeah, there's something I've got to sort myself out this side. Thanks for
You have
hosting,
to, because you've
Gavin.
become a viewer, not a hoster.
Yes, it's actually quite nice listening to the show and just controlling the comments and stuff, you know. But but very frustrating just from a technology. But I'm not sure if it's my Wi-Fi or my computer. I'll go on another computer next week and we'll see if it makes any difference. But yeah, I think Hendrik might have had some problems at the end there as well. So he's also gone. Gav, I mean,
I'm going to say my best bet, Brent, is I'm going to tell you to do the same thing as last week. You can go under points here, so under 18.5 or 17.5, whatever the points are on. I didn't think he was 35. No, this guy's an interesting character. Eh? He's not fought in quite a while.
He's an athlete.
Yeah, he is, of course. And listen, his price suggests that he's up for it. But I just think that this South African wins this fight. You know, I like this Egg Chasers Perthfontein. I like that. As I said, I got a couple of mates in Perth. I understand there's a big South African contingent there. My friends in Perth and the rest of Australia have said, don't come to Australia, you get arrested very quickly because of the rules and regulations that they've got in Australia. Apparently, I wouldn't survive there. So I'm happy in Cape Town, happy to live. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, my best bet again, South Africa, the South African game, go under Australia points. I know Hendrik's gone the other way. I just don't see it. Take South Africa to win to 0 as a quarter of a unit. And you can double the minus or the under points, double it. Sorry, there was one more thing I was to say to Hendrik. Sorry, while we were talking to the New Zealand game, I forgot. So the statistician, there's always a statistician in the background. So while they had the commentators on the New Zealand-Argentina game, they put up a thing on the screen showing the last 2 times Argentina got 25 points against New Zealand, they won the game. So that's the trigger number. When they get to 25, they've won the game. They haven't lost getting 25 points. I'm going to say that they're going to get 25 points this week as well. And whether that holds true or not. So I'm going to say go over Argentina points, go under Australia points. And if you want to take South Africa to beat the minus here, you can go a few more points further, so 15, 16, and you can double it onto Argentina to win the game. From the Currie Cup point of view, I'm going to tell you Lions absolutely shit in. The Griffins have got a big chance there to win the game, not only the plus. Yeah, those are the ones for me. Best bet, I'm going to tell you under Australia points. That's my best bet.
Well, Hendrik, we'll come to your best bet. I'll just quickly give you where I'm leading. And Hendrik, you touched on it, points in Nelspruit. I went in the last game. I can't remember who the Pumas were against, but I went over 60 points. I think it was the newsletter bet, and it arrived fairly comfortably. And I based it on the fact that the first 2 games in Nelspruit both had over 90 points in them. And I think the last one also went sort of flying over the 70, 80. So I like 59.5, 60. I like the overs there. At this stage, it's in pole position for best bet in tomorrow's newsletter. And Hendrik, yourself, what are your best plays for the weekend?
Now, Brent, I just quickly now, for the first time, checked the weather for Auckland. And I see there's quite a bit of rain predicted. I didn't know that because I was leaning towards the over 49.5 there. But yeah, that's a lot of rain for Eden Park for Auckland. So I'm probably going to leave the points there then. I think the plus is still the way to go there, but that's not going to be one of my best bets. I'm going directly, no, not 100% directly against Gavin, but I like the Aussies on the plus. I don't like, not that I don't like the team that Rassie has picked. I can understand why he has picked them. Looking at the future. But yeah, I think Australia, they're going to be better. They were already better in the second half last weekend. We were all over them in that first half. All the 50-50 calls went our way. And that happens when you're the best team in the world. The ref is going to fancy you. He's going to lean towards the best team in the world. But the Aussies impressed me in the second half, actually. And I think they're going to come out much better here. And this Bok team, yeah, we're not going to have the same impact with our forwards than we had last weekend. Sasha's going to still be good there, but he's going to miss Willie. Fassy's not going to have the same playmaking ability that Willie brings, and the organization of the backline, stuff like that. I think we're going to miss Willie badly. We're going to miss the Allende at 12. So yeah, I think Australia are going to run us closely. I won't be surprised if Australia win this game. But the plus is a great bet in my opinion. And I don't like going against Russia. I'm nervous about that. I am. But that is the right bet, and that's the best bet of the weekend.
Yeah, I actually tweeted, I think Rassie wants a close game. I think he wants almost these guys to come under pressure. So I've taken 2 bets. I don't normally trade.
If he wants a close game, he's not going to get one.
But look, I don't normally trade when I'm betting, but I still thought, and I still think the handicap might come in for Australia, but I think it's currently 12.5. I took a bit of 14.5, a bit of 13.5. I was sort of banking on it coming in, and I might trade a bit there. And the other one was New Zealand. I took the minus 12.5, not because I necessarily think it's going to arrive, but I saw the market moving to 15.5. I don't know if it will get to 15.5. It's currently on 14.5. We'll see. But I'm not going to talk for any longer because I'm just enjoying a bit of signal while I've got it. If you haven't subscribed to the newsletter yet, there is a link down below. And let me say cheers, first of all, to the guys in the live chat. We had a nice big turnout. I see the Crow Tips coming in, and I know he discovered what I've learned many years ago. Writing a newsletter every week isn't easy. he went out in his first one, but you can get his link there on Twitter. But don't worry, Crow Tips, keep at it. I know you've been in the game for the long run as well. He reckons plus on Australia is the right bet. And seen Bo saying when South Africa is 14-0 up, you're going to swallow slowly. And Farid is agreeing with Hendrik there. So thanks to the boys in the live chat. And then Oracle, thanks to you, man. Always good to chat. And you reckon you can go? You were 6 for 6 last weekend. What's your prediction out of 6 for yourself this weekend?
No, 6 again. I just want to ask one question of Hendrik because he knows the players far better than I do. Hendrik, we lost a game. I think it was in Perth. I'm pretty sure it was in Perth when Andre Pollard kicked the ball in, tried to kick it into touch. It didn't go out, and we lost. Was that in Perth? Can you remember?
Now you're testing my memory. I can't remember that. I'm not sure.
I don't think he's played in Perth since then. I think this is his first game since that horrific game. Okay. I know he's on the bench, but. That'll be interesting. I must look that up actually. But we're a far better team than we were then. UFC, whatever it's called, MMA. They've got all sorts of different names for this. Listen, I've got to believe that Drickus wins this fight. I also see, and this irritates me. And this is a stab at bookmakers out there. And I know I'm one, and I've been one, and whatever. Everyone's got this fight starting at 5 o'clock in the morning. There's absolutely no ways this fight is taking place at 20 past 11 on Sunday morning in South African time. Sorry, in their time. Impossible. Sorry. You can't tell me this fight's at 5 o'clock. It's at lunchtime. So if you're a bookmaker and you've got access to time on this fight's going to happen minimum 6 o'clock Sunday night in Perth, which means 12 o'clock South African time. Don't mess your punters around having 5 o'clock in the morning starting times. Come on, wake up. That's my rant for the week.
Message from the Oracle to the bookmakers. We'll end the show on that night. Thanks to Hendrik. Thanks to the Oracle. Good having you on, lads. And thanks for holding the fort while I was out of action. Cheers, guys. We'll see you next week for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters.
Cheers.
Hey, this guy, well, it's too late for the show, but
just
48, 53, 54, 55.